Okay, today is the 26th of July, and we continue with the Nidana Samyutta, 12th chapter of Samyutta Nikaya. We are now at 12.37. At Savatthi, the Buddha said, "Monks, this body is not yours, nor does it belong to others. It is all karma, to be seen as generated and fashioned by volition, as something to be felt. Therein, monks, the instructed noble disciple attends carefully and closely to dependent origination itself thus. When this exists, that comes to be. With the arising of this, that arises. When this does not exist, that does not come to be. With the cessation of this, that ceases. That is, with ignorance as condition, volition comes to be. With volition as condition, consciousness, etc., such is the origin of this whole mass of suffering. But with the remainderless fading away and cessation of ignorance comes cessation of volition. With the cessation of volition, cessation of consciousness, etc., such is the cessation of this whole mass of suffering." That's the end of the sutta. So the Buddha said, this body is not yours, nor does it belong to others. This one, in this chapter on dependent origination, it does not explain so much why this body is not yours. But later, in the Khandha Samyutta, when the Buddha talks about the 5 aggregates, then it is explained that we have no control over our body. That's why it's not ours. And here it says it is all karma, to be seen as generated and fashioned by volition, as something to be felt. The translation in the Pali Text Society book is, it should be regarded as brought about by past karma, by plans, by volitions, by feelings. So this body is, here it says, is a result of old karma. And not only that, it's also generated and fashioned by volition. Volition, take it to be like the will to live. Here in the Pali Text Society, it says plans also. And even by feelings, according to the PTS. So, the instructed noble disciple considers dependent origination. This formula here, when this exists, that comes to be. With the arising of this, that arises. When this does not exist, that does not come to be. With the cessation of this, that ceases. So you see this formula, it says when something exists, something else comes to exist. When something arises, something else arises. So one thing is a condition, something else. When this does not exist, that does not come to be. With the cessation of this, that ceases. So, for example, when ignorance exists, then volition, the will to live, comes to be. With the arising of ignorance, there is the arising of volition. And then, similarly, when ignorance does not exist, then volition does not come to be. With the cessation of ignorance, volition also ceases. So it is not that when something exists, something disappears. It's not, when something exists, something else comes to be. It's not that So you have to remember this. 12.38 at Savatthi, the Buddha said, monks, what one intends and what one plans and whatever one has a tendency towards, this becomes a basis for the maintenance of consciousness. When there is a basis for us, when there is a basis, there is a support for the establishing of consciousness. When consciousness is established and has come to growth, there is the production of future renewed existence. When there is the production of future renewed existence, future birth, aging and death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure and despair come to be. Such is the origin of this whole mass of suffering. If monks, one does not intend and one does not plan, but one still has a tendency towards something, this becomes a basis for the maintenance of consciousness. When there is a basis, there is a support for the establishing of consciousness. When consciousness is established and has come to growth, there is the production of future renewed existence. So, such is the origin of this whole mass of suffering. But monks, when one does not intend, and one does not plan, and one does not have a tendency towards anything, no basis exists for the maintenance of consciousness. When there is no basis, there is no support for the establishing of consciousness. When consciousness is unestablished and does not come to growth, there is no production of future renewed existence. When there is no production of future renewed existence, future birth, aging and death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, displeasure and despair cease. Such is the cessation of this whole mass of suffering. So here the Buddha says there are three things that are nutriments for the maintenance of consciousness. Firstly, what we intend. The Pali word is ceteti, from the word cetana. And what one plans, pakapeti. And whatever one has a tendency towards, anuseti, from the word anusaya, tendency. So these three things supports consciousness. What one intends, what one plans, and what one has a tendency towards. So there are these three things. Then there is a support for the establishing of consciousness, and then consciousness comes to grow. But the second part, if one does not intend and one does not plan, but one still has a tendency towards something, this also becomes a basis for the maintenance of consciousness. So even if you don't have plan, you don't have intention, but you still have a tendency towards something, meaning you still have a craving for something, then consciousness still continues, is maintained. So these three things, what you intend, what you plan, this could be like sometimes when a person is dying, he still has unfulfilled ambitions, still want to do this, still wants to do that. This is very common. Even in the Suttas it is stated that even devas, having lifespan of millions of years, after such a long lifespan, when they are about to die, and then they panic, and then they think, oh, they still haven't done this, they still haven't done that. So this is the first part, what you intend and what you plan. But however, if at the moment of dying you don't have all this planning and intention, yet if you still have a tendency towards something, that means you still haven't let go of craving, then this consciousness is still maintained. So you can see from here, it's not easy to become liberated from this flow of consciousness. And this flow of consciousness creates samsara, creates the world. So that's why one has to be totally cool, totally, like earlier we read, you have to be disenchanted with the world, and then you got to have or revulsion for the world, then you got to have viraga, dispassion towards the world, totally tired of the world, and then only you can become liberated. So for most people, you have not come to that stage for most people. So the first stage is to attain stream entry. If you attain stream entry, then you have entered the path of the holy ones, the Aryans. And then you have a maximum of 7 more lifetimes. And as you go through these 7 more lifetimes, you become more and more disenchanted with the world. And then you slowly become more and more dispassionate towards the world, and one day you will enter Nibbana. 12.41 at Savatthi. Then the householder Anathapindika approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him and sat down to one side. The Blessed One then said to him, "Householder, when 5 fearful animosities have subsided in a noble disciple, and he possesses the 4 factors of stream entry, and he has clearly seen and thoroughly penetrated with wisdom the noble method, if he wishes, he could by himself declare of himself, I am one finished with hell, finished with the animal realm, finished with the domain of ghosts, finished with the plane of misery, the bad destinations, the nether world. I am a stream enterer, no longer bound to the nether world, fixed in destiny, with enlightenment as my destination." I stop here for a moment. So the Buddha says, if a person has these 3 factors, if he possesses these 3 factors, he should have the confidence to believe that he is a stream enterer, the first stage Arya, first path Arya. And once you have become Arya, then the hell realm is closed for you, the animal realm and the ghost realm. You will never be born into these 3 woeful planes again. You notice here, these 3 realms are the 3 woeful planes of rebirth. Later books, they added one more. They added the Asura. And this Asura is found in the later Mahayana books. Generally in the Mahayana books, and also in the Abhidhamma. So it shows that the Abhidhamma and the Mahayana books were written much later. So here in the earliest suttas, they always talk about 3 realms of these woeful planes. So what are these 3 factors? I'll go into it. What are the 5 fearful animosities that have subsided? Householder, one who destroys life, engenders on account of such behavior fearful animosity pertaining to the present life, and fearful animosity pertaining to the future life, and he experiences mental pain and displeasure. Thus, for one who abstains from destroying life, this fearful animosity has subsided. One who takes what is not given, one who engages in sexual misconduct, one who speaks falsely, one who indulges in wine, liquor, and intoxicants that are a basis for negligence, engenders on account of such behavior fearful animosity pertaining to the present life, and fearful animosity pertaining to the future life, and he experiences mental pain and displeasure. Thus, for one who abstains from wine, liquor, and intoxicants that are a basis for negligence, this fearful animosity has subsided. These are the 5 fearful animosities that have subsided. So here I start about to explain these 5